Okay, we have the Atlas 20,700 gallon tank car and the Atlas 23,500 gallon tank car. We're going to put a coupler conversion on these two cars. Right away I can see that there's quite a big gap in the coupler of the 23,500, whereas the 23,700 is very close to that end rail right there, so they'll probably both take a little bit of different coupler conversion. So we'll get started. Okay, we'll install the coupler on the 23,500 gallon tanker. I'm going to take the trucks and couplers off. Set this gently on its top. Shouldn't ruin any detail if you do that, as long as you don't push on it. We'll use the 620 coupler. First thing we want to do is cut that little riser off right there. I'll do that with the razor blade. Make sure you got a nice, smooth, flat surface. That looks pretty good. Now if you test fit it, it seems to fit right in there. But the problem is, got those nice stirrup details there and it'll plug up the stirrup detail. So I'm going to try and remove all of this excess material to keep those stirrups nice and clean. I'll do that with the razor blade. And it's a simple little cut. Just lay it right up against the coupler box, push it down. Same on the other side. There's my coupler. Now if I test fit it back on there, it's got a nice fit, except it's sloped a little bit because this end rail is a little higher than the tank. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take just a piece of 20 thousandths by 0.156 thousandths strip styrene, part number 127 from Evergreen. I'll take the double-sided tape. I'm just going to tape it down right here at the edge. And what I'm going to do is put just a little shim right up against where that cutout is for the bolster. So when I glue this on here, I don't want to cover up that cutout. I want to slide it back so that you can't see any styrene through there, so that this is open right here. So I'll take just a little drop of super glue, put it right there. I'll take the coupler, carefully lay that on there. I'll take my razor blade and redo this cut that I just did on both sides to get rid of that styrene, the excess. And there's my shim. Now I'll lay it on the car. Got a nice fit. Looks good and level. So I like the way that's fitting. So I'll do a little Sharpie paint job on it to get it all black again. I don't need to paint this because that's going to be glued to the car. You won't see it. Now I'm going to go ahead and install it on the car. I'm going to put a drop of glue right here on the tank. Then my next drop of glue goes right here. I'm going to carefully set that on there. I want to kind of keep it square and straight. and then press it into place. I'll let that glue dry for just a few seconds. And then I'm going to install some trucks. Again, I'm changing these over. This is the 100 truck that comes on the Trainworx cars. It's got those smooth rolling Fox Valley wheels. I'm going to use the original Atlas truck pin because it's just a little bit bigger bolster on all those Atlas cars. Put that truck into place. And then I'll check my coupler and trip pin. Put it over the height gauge. This is the Microtrain's height gauge. Trip pin looks good. Check the coupler. Coupler looks good. Now we'll do a conversion for the 20,700 gallon tank car. Again, carefully set it on its top. You can set it like that. Want to remove the trucks first. A lot of little details, so be careful where your fingers are. Now I want to check these two screws at each end, make sure they're good and tight, because they'll be covered up. I'm also looking to see that they're about the same depth down in that hole. Then I'm going to take a chisel blade and I want to take the plastic off right down to the head of the screw. I'm just carefully going to wiggle that through there. And I also want to go right down against that bolster. Straight down. And that piece of plastic will come out of there. If I turn right down to the top of that screw head, I'll know I'm there because I'll take the paint off. Again, I'm using 620. So I'll take my razor and again I'll take this little tab off right here. So I just want to push that through there. Nice wiggle motion. Make sure it's nice and clean and flat. Again, it seems like it fits, but all the material on the side will plug up your stirrups and you won't be able to see through them again, and you kind of want to keep that detail. So what I want to do here is, since the front of that bolster is square and I got a round peg here, I'm just going to square that off while it's big so I can get it nice and straight. So I'm going to place my razor blade on there, press that through. Again, I wiggle the razor blade back and forth to press it through. And then I'm going to cut both sides off right up against the coupler box. Now the coupler should just lay right on there. Nice little Sharpie paint job on the sides where I cut the material off. I'll go ahead and just put it right on that screw and a little drop across there. And I'll set the coupler into place. Once I get it aligned, I'll go ahead and press it. I'm going to use some 110 trucks off of a Trainworx car with some smooth rolling Fox Valley metal wheels. I'll reuse the Atlas pin since it fits in the hole. I'm going to use a Microtrain shim washer to raise the truck up off of the coupler, or the axle will drag on the coupler. Again, be careful where I'm gripping the car, that I'm not gripping any details. Got my truck installed, now I need to check the coupler height. Put it over the height gauge. This is the Microtrain's height gauge. Trip pin looks good. Check the coupler. Coupler looks good. Ready to roll.